Yay! Hi everyone, we're Dogtopia. My name's Tony and this is Colleen Demling.
Hi.
She is one of Dogtopia's experts. She's our dog behaviorist. So today we'll go through a lot of dog training questions. We've received quite a bit. So thank you everyone for tuning in and for submitting your questions either to Facebook, to our Facebook event, or to dogtopia.com/healthydog. If we're unable to get to your question during today's session, we will be posting the answers to our dogtopia.com/healthydog site. Visit the FAQ section as well as the blog, and we'll try and give you as much information as possible. So let's get started, shall we?
Sounds great.
All right, the first question came from Suzanne via our Healthy Dog site. Her question is, my timid dog barks at everything he hears in the house. What do I do?
Barking dogs, that's a big question. It sounds like he's probably a little scared and nervous, which is why he's barking. Every kind of sound sounds like maybe the boogeyman or someone trying to break into the house. And so it's just helping him learn that those sounds don't really mean anything.
Okay.
So what we like to do is start with a sound you can control, like get the knock at the door. And so you start really soft and just do a little baby knock. And if you can knock soft enough and before he barks, big party, lots of praise, some treats, and let him know that little sound, not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Now it's good. It's happy. It means good things. And then as he gets more comfortable, then you knock a little bit louder and then a little louder. And if at any point he barks, I just calmly say nope, and you turn your back to him.
Okay.
Wait for him to stop barking, and then try again. Once he starts to get comfortable with the sounds he does know, then I kind of move on to some of those other things that are a little harder to control. Like maybe he barks when he hears like a person walking by outside or a child going out on a bike. And then you just kind of recruit the neighbor kid, have him ride back and forth and back and forth as you praise and let him know that that child's not a scary thing. And then normally as they get used to that, they get more comfortable.
Okay.
Oftentimes too, with timid dogs, more exercise really does help.
Oh.
Yeah, more exercise.
More social, more exercise.
Exactly. More walks, more like doggy daycare, more kind of out and about experiences and socialization, because then at that point,
Less unknown, they'll get more familiar with the world.
Exactly.
Great question.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Let's see. Okay, this one came from Janet Nash, also via our Healthy Dog site. My dog is almost 3 years old. He has been neutered. He visits Dogtopia. We love that, to play on rainy days and when we go out of town. In the last 6 months or so, when I walk him around the neighborhood, if he sees a dog across the street he doesn't know, he will become aggressive, start barking, lunging to get them. There is no pattern as to the color, breed, or size of the dog. He has no problems with the dogs he has known since he was a puppy. This is interesting. We are retired and spend most of our time with him, and he has been socialized since he was a puppy around children, adults, dogs in the neighborhood. What do we do now? Great question, Janet. What do you think?
Really good question. I love all the detail in the background too. His behavior could have a couple different motivations, from wanting to be aggressive and not liking that dog to sometimes dogs will act that way on leash when they're just frustrated because they can't go play.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like a child outside of like Disneyland and not being able to go on the gates.
Yeah, like whining.
Getting a little upset, kind of throwing a tantrum. So dogs on leash can do the same thing. We'll give some tips today, but since it's a newer behavior, I would suggest maybe reaching out to a dog professional, a dog trainer in her area, just to see if get eyes on help give some tips. But in the meantime, just kind of a couple questions to get your tips to get you through till then is bring extra special yummy treats. And these are treats that the dog should only have on walks, no other time. And every time she sees a dog and the dog sees a dog, another big party, lots of treats and praise. So now no matter what the motivation is, if maybe her dog doesn't like the other dog or her dog just wants to go see the other dog, it will all be counteracted because mom has just become the most interesting thing on the block, right?
She has the treats.
She's got the treats. She's throwing the party. Who cares about that other dog?
Right.
So that will often help to shift his focus back on her.
Okay.
If he does react and he does get a little barky or starts to lunge, again, I just do a very kind of gentle note. I block him for a second with my body, and then I immediately turn and try to create distance.
Okay.
Because that's him just saying, at this point, I'm not comfortable anymore. So a lot of people try to force their dogs forward, but it's unfair to them.
Right.
Right? So instead, make that retreat.
Okay.
So he gets more comfortable. You also want to put some more structure around the walks. A lot of times when we're walking a dog, we're kind of taking them out for a sniff instead, right? They're left and right, left and right, and they stop and we stop and they stop and we stop. And so if we're walking like that and then suddenly a dog comes and we pull them in tight and we get really nervous and we try to command them to do all sorts of stuff, the dog's already called our bluff. Yeah. They know who's walking who.
Yeah.
They're walking us. So therefore, they don't have to listen to us at a moment of stress with another dog. But if she can do some healing on the walk, teaching the dog to walk on a loose leash, some sits, some just stopping and saying, hey, let's refocus on mom for a second, that will also help in that moment.
Good. A little bit more structure.
A little more structure.
Okay.
Exactly.
Any other tips for Janet?
The other one and the big one is just stay calm.
Okay.
We, especially after it's happened a couple times, we tend to anticipate what's about to occur. And so as soon as we see the dog, we tighten the leash, we get tight.
Yeah,
and then we sometimes are like, no, 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 and start talking to the dog like that, and that immediately will set the dog off. So staying nice, relaxed, happy, will also help calm that whole situation.
This is good for anyone with a dog.
Yes, in any situation, we tend to react, and that is the worst thing to do. So no matter what kind of environment you're in, whatever behavior problem you're dealing with, staying calm, staying centered, and being the rational one in the decision making
to ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
All right, thank you, Janet. That was a great question. That'll definitely help a lot of pet parents out there. This next question came from Julie via Facebook. We have a lab mix that loves to steal my daughter's socks. I have a dog like that too, Julie, and buries them in the backyard. Why does he do this?
Ooh, that is a good question, Julie. Oftentimes they'll bury things they think are valuable. So chances are they think that Julie's daughter's socks is the most amazing thing in the world and the dog better save it for later. Occasionally, if it's bones or something like that, they'll also bury them if they're not hungry. Okay. So that's a little tip that if you have a puppy who's burying tons of bones in the backyard, chances are they might be getting too many. And so they're just saving them for later, like leftovers for dinner. But what do we do now that we know why he's doing this? How do we stop it? One thing is I like to kind of rotate the toys he does have. Because oftentimes if it's the same old teddy bear that just is laying on the floor or he gets to go hunting, he's going to go hunting for socks because that's fun. So if we rotate the toys he does have, that will help keep those fun and exciting. Same also getting some interactive toys for him. Okay. So they have like balls and cubes and all sorts of different types of toys where you can unscrew it, put treats in it, screw it back up, and it's got a little hole, and the dog has to push it around
in order to get the treat out.
And so if we have that fun activity, then
keeps him busy.
And
a little bit more stimulated.
Right. And then also too is making sure that I accidentally a lot of times teach dogs that certain items are important. So probably somewhere along the line, he grabbed a sock, everyone yelled no, and chased him around the house. And then when they caught him, we stole the sock back.
Yeah.
So we're sock stealers.
Everyone's a
sock stealer. That's what our dogs start to think. So he's saying, okay, this is a valuable thing I found. My family likes to steal it.
I'm going to keep it.
I'm going to keep it and hide it for later. So instead, if when you see him as he has a sock, be calm, redirect, maybe ask him to sit, maybe show him a different toy so that he understands socks.
Not a big deal.
No longer a big deal. Socks are way last year in trend. No one wants to talk about socks anymore. Let's move on and talk about a dog toy.
Okay.
And then finally, too, that's another kind of behavior that happens when a dog has excess energy. So more exercise, more walks, more playtime, more fetch, more daycare, all of that will really help in that type of situation.
Interesting. Another question I think every pet parent has experienced as well. All right, this next question came from Amelia Palmer via Facebook. Thank you, Amelia. My Westie will not potty train. He has a large set of bells at the door, which he knows how to ring to go out. I take him out, then he goes again in the house. Help, he's 4 months old and very smart. I'm sure that's very frustrating, Amelia. What do you suggest?
She also sounds adorable. 4-month-old Westie. Oh my gosh, those are the best. So one thing with bells is that a lot of people think that once the dog knows how to ring the bell, they will for potty training. But most puppies, they don't always do that because if they think they can still pee in the house, why ring the bell to go outside, right? And so it's helping to close that gap a little bit that you can't pee in the house, therefore you must ring the bell to go outside, if that makes sense. So it's really just kind of keeping the puppy on a schedule for now and not really trusting his bell ringing. It also sounds like from her question that the pup has learned bell means outside, not necessarily bell means
go
to the potty outside. So to help kind of solidify that message for the pup and help to increase his potty training, there are a few really good tips that she can do. One is take him out on a regular schedule. Right, so normally with a 4-month-old puppy, every about 90 minutes or so is a good kind of general starting place of when he needs to go out.
Okay.
Also after he naps, after he eats, or after a big play session.
Okay.
And it's just taking him out saying, do you have to go to the bathroom? Kind of like we do before everyone gets in the car on a road trip. Does anyone have to go to the bathroom? And everyone does. Pups are the same way.
Okay.
I like to also keep a potty log or a potty diary.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and what that does is, jump back to the 90-minute rule, that's general, but he hasn't read that book, right? He doesn't know he's supposed to potty every 90 minutes. So if you keep a log of when they eat and when they go to the bathroom, normally in about 3 to 4 days, you'll know his schedule.
Okay.
And when she knows his schedule, she can take him out when he's gone to the bathroom in the past, right? Another big tip is moving his food bowl around.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, most of the time people feed their dog in one spot.
Same place.
But dogs generally don't like to eat and potty in the same area. So breakfast is served one place, lunch is served a different place, dinner is served in another part of the house, and just kind of like a different restaurant every meal. Just kind of move it around all over the house, and he'll start to understand that I can eat at any point in this house,
but I don't want to go to the bathroom.
so I better not go to the bathroom
at
any other point in this house. Now, if she does take him out and he doesn't go, I normally give him like 5 minutes, because any longer than that, he's probably picked up a stick. Let's go to butterfly. Why am I out here? My mom stands outside a lot. What are we doing? Right? So it's take him out for about 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
If he doesn't go and you check your potty log and you're like, yep, you have to go, and he comes back inside, but when he's inside, he remains on leash and with you.
Okay.
This prevents that sneak off accident that pet parents often get, and also keeps him close. So if he does start to squat, you can quick scoop
and take him outside.
and take him outside.
Got it.
Yeah. And then if he does have an accidents happen, it's important not to get mad, not to rub their face in it. None of that works. It just makes the puppy scared of you.
Yeah.
Just clean it up. And I use a pet deodorizer that will just help to take the scent out of the flooring for the dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of pet deodorizers, Dogtopia has one. It's a bioenzymatic cleaner that's great for a variety of cleaning surfaces. So it's definitely one we recommend.
Definitely.
Visit a Dogtopia to pick it up.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Next question. Cindy via, I believe, Facebook. How do I get my dog to stop jumping up on the table? No food involved. Just trying to get at whatever decoration I have on it.
Ooh. That's a good one, Cindy. So in general, my general rule is reward when 4 are on the floor. So anytime your dog walks by the counter and all of his 4 paws stay on the floor, good boy. Give him attention at that point so he learns that that's what you want. Yeah, positive reinforcement. We tend to wait till the dogs do something wrong, and then we give him all this attention, and then he learns wrong is good. And good is bad because I just walked by Mom 4 times, not jumping on
happened.
Yeah, I didn't jump and get the decorations, and she ignored me. So notice when he's got his 4 paws on the floor. When possible, remove access from them. So maybe push them into the center of the counter or push them away and out of his area. Because sometimes it's easier to control the environment than it is the dog.
Yeah, definitely.
Interactive toys, as we mentioned before, is a really, really good one. And then the other thing is I like to teach him leave it. And so basically I just kind of I put him on leash.
Okay.
I show him the decoration. You can put it on the floor at this point. It's okay for it to be on the ground. He's on leash, and when he looks at the decoration, I just kind of call his name and even use a sound, like a little kissy sound. And as I say, leave it, right? So it's leave it, pull him away. When he looks at you, puppy party treat.
Okay.
Right? And then you repeat and you repeat and you repeat until he understands what leave it means. And that means don't go for the decoration.
Okay.
I then put the decoration back up on the counter. And as he walks by, leave it. And then when he leaves it, I actually drop the treat on the ground.
Okay.
And the reason being is I want him to think decoration up high, treat down low. And you can't look at the ground and jump at the same time. So he's got to make a decision.
Very smart. Any other tips?
Rotating the toys like we did with the socks. And again, this is another dogs that tend to counter surf. They're bored.
Yeah.
So more exercise, Dogtopia, daycare, all of that can really, really help get them mentally stimulated and their extra energy out, so you don't have to deal with some of this stuff.
Yeah. All right. Another question we received via Facebook, Yadira Ortega Rodriguez. For potty training a puppy, does puppy pads confuse them about going inside the house? That's a great question.
It is a great question because a lot of people use potty pads, right? And the short answer is yes, it totally can. Because what I see a lot of pet parents doing is you walk into their house and there's potty pads everywhere. Anywhere the dog's ever gone to the bathroom, there's a potty pad. And then that confuses the message. So with potty pads, I like to make sure they're in one space, one section of the house. It might be near the door, it could be in a spare bedroom or bathroom, and then that's where it stays. So you want to think just not now for what it's like as a puppy, but in 3-4 years. Do you want pee pads? And if so, where do you want it to be? So the dog will learn over time, yes, I potty there. Nowhere else but there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Repetition, consistency.
Yeah. All of that. All of that. I also like to make sure it's not on carpet because dogs can't read the packaging, right? They don't know what a pee pad is, and a pee pad feels a lot like carpet. And so they'll have more accidents. So they'll think, well, I have this little pee pad, but over there,
I have this giant
giant Oriental imported pee pad because my mom's the best mom ever. So making sure that it's on like a wood or tile surface will help. Additionally, I normally recommend putting it in something like a kitty litter box with a low lid.
Okay.
Works really well. They also have pee pad holders. And so this also helps a dog learn that when I walk over this edge is where I'm supposed to potty.
Got it.
Versus it's just anywhere on the floor. Yeah, because that can even transfer if someone throws a jacket down. Was it a pee pad?
Yeah. That would not be good.
That would not be good. Guests would not like that. And then also there's other types of options. So if she needs to have a pee pad in the house, they have fake grass. They have kind of potty systems now that it will self-clean and smells great. They even have companies that will deliver turf. They also have dog litter, like kitty litter, but it's made for dogs. So those are other options that can help clear up the whole potty pad confusion in the house.
All right. Thank you for that question.
It was a great question.
Next, we have Kathy, who also submitted a question via Facebook. How do I stop my 11-month-old Bichon from biting and nipping when all I want to do is just pet her?
Well, one, we want to make sure she has proper things to chew on. So sometimes dogs that are a little mouthy, they just want to have something else to do.
Yes.
So giving them things they can chew on, like carrots, bully sticks that are made in the U.S., Kong with a little bit of frozen peanut butter in it, that type of thing will help to stop some of this nipping.
Okay.
Now, if she does nip, because a lot of times by 11 months old, it's been accidentally reinforced, is if she nips, I pretend I'm a robot. So the moment teeth hit skin, I just, turn away, kind of fold up, look away, like you're never going to talk to her again.
Okay.
Wait, just turn, because what we tend to go, ow, don't, ow,
immediate.
Bite me, ow, don't bite, ow. And then we do this with our hands to try to keep petting, and the whole time the dog's like, you are the best squeaky toy.
You're giving me so much attention.
Yeah. You're the best toy ever. Like, watch, I nip you and watch the dancing that happens. And this is true for puppies too.
Yeah.
So instead it's just, kind of turn away, pause, and then try again. The other tip she can try, because it sounds like, again, the behavior has been kind of reinforced a little bit, is I take some yummy treats, or you can even use a kibble.
Oh, okay.
I sprinkle it on the ground, and as the dog is eating that, I start to pet.
Oh.
And then over time, what her dog will learn is when mom pets me, again, put your head down instead of up and at.
Oh, very smart. All right. Thank you, Kathy. This question is from Lauren Serrano via Facebook. She was also going to ask a similar question to Kathy's, so good timing. My 10-week-old thinks my hands are toys, and he's got a strong grip that makes me bleed. He's not aggressive at all, but I would love for it to stop.
Puppies nip, and they nip a lot, and they're not trying to be bad. They're not trying to be dominant. A lot of people think, oh, my puppy's trying to be dominant. He's nipping me. Their mouth hurts.
Yeah, they're teething.
They're teething. Yeah, they have little baby teeth. They have adult teeth. They're growing deep in there.
Things are happening.
There's lots of things happening, and they don't have hands.
Yeah.
So a lot of times as children would explore the environment with their hands, puppies explore it with their mouth.
Okay.
And so it's important to remember that and not get mad, even if they make you bleed. It's like, oh, I'm frustrated with you, but they're just kind of being puppies.
Mm-hmm.
So with puppies, the number one thing is really, really rotate those toys. Yeah, keep them active with the things that they can chew on.
Okay.
Oftentimes with puppies too, having things that you can freeze helps their
smart.
teeth feel better. So you can freeze the little carrots. You can do the frozen Kong with the peanut butter, ice cubes.
Ice cubes are great.
Ice cubes are great. Sometimes you can put a blueberry in the ice cubes.
Oh,
yeah,
a treat.
a little treat, or a little low sodium chicken broth
Okay.
in ice cubes. Because it gives them something fun to play with. Even if they have a rope toy, I wet that and freeze it.
Okay.
So when you give it to them, it's nice and cold, and that will help with that nipping
Okay.
because their gums just feel better.
Yeah.
The other thing is if the pup does nip, similar to the 11-month-old dog, no, turn away.
Okay.
But with puppies, we want to give them something they can do because
Okay.
they're younger. They're a little more inexperienced in how the world works. So a little puppy nip, nope, turn away, count to 2, toy they can have.
Okay.
Right? And I tend to do a 3-strike you're out rule. So if I'd say turn away, hand a toy, and the puppy's like, no, I'm coming for you. I want to play with you. No, turn away. And then he keeps coming for you. I just stand up and disengage.
Okay.
Because he's a puppy.
Yeah.
And so it's
Gonna take time.
It's going to take time. And if those moments, it's sometimes best just say, you need a break. I need a break. Let's remain calm.
Mhm.
And the final tip with the puppies is make sure there's no really rough housing.
Okay.
Or tug of
That'll
war.
encourage that kind of behavior.
And we tend to do a lot of playing with our hands. We do a lot of like tap, 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 tap on the floor with the puppy or like little play with the head. But then how will they know that one moment your hands are fun and you love it, and then a moment later they're in trouble?
Okay. Good advice. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Colin.
Oh, of course.
The next question is from Barbara, also via Facebook. Hi, Barbara. Her 5-month-old puppy just started digging in his water bowl, spills it all over. Why did he just start this, and how can we stop him from doing it?
That was a good question. So most puppies they like to explore. And so he just one day thought,
I'm going to play in my water.
that's cool. I never knew all this time my water bowl was so much fun. So one, stay calm. Because if he starts digging in the bowl and we start yelling and screaming and telling him he's naughty and all these other things, all he's hearing is the cheerleading squad.
They're talking to me. They're talking to me.
Mm-hmm. They love it. They love it. They're screaming my name like they're a fan. Right? So nice and calm. You can get, or she can get, a no-spill water bowl. So it's a bowl that's got a lid on it and just a very smaller hole where the dog can stick their snout in to drink.
Okay.
So that's good because they can't get pawn.
Mm.
And if they can't get their pawn to dig,
And they won't be playing.
then it won't be as much fun for them. If it continues, I also like to do just a little water in the bowl because, again, less water, less fun. And if he thinks through that one and he's still like, I'm dedicated to this
really
water,
smart dog.
I'm really, really going for this, I gently just kind of pick up the water bowl, set it aside, put it on the counter for a couple minutes, walk away. If you're going to play with your food, you got to be excused from the dinner table, right? That type of thing. If you're going to play with your water, we're going to put it up and then start later. 5-month-old puppies have lots of energy.
Yes.
They have lots of idle time on their hands. So make sure he's getting exercise. Make sure he's getting out and getting walked. Make sure that he's getting playtime.
Okay.
So more time he has to do that, less time he has to play in his bowl.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is similar. I guess Barbara has also tried the hamster type water bottle, but he pulled it off. So I guess it's the same thing. How does she stop him from?
Yeah, that would be the same thing. She mentions that, I remember that it's in his crate.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's only going to be in there for short periods of time, just a couple hours, he doesn't even need water in there.
Okay.
So a lot of times it just keep the crate dry and clean of just no water went in the crate. If for whatever reason he's going to be in there for longer periods of time, they do have water bowls you can hang from the side, and it's a small water bowl, and she can try that. Or a great tip is put the water in the bowl, freeze it.
Oh.
And then put it in the crate when she leaves. And then over time it will defrost, and if he needs it, he can lick it, it will melt, but he can't dig
And play with it.
and be crazy.
Cause a big mess for mom to clean up.
Exactly.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, this next question came from Jen. She has a 10-month-old boxer who loves the dog park but doesn't always have successful trips. Does the length of a dog's snout and how they breathe play a role in how they interact? That's interesting. I find my boxer's playfulness is sometimes misread by other breeds. What do you think about that?
That's a good question. In general, no, it's not the way of their snout or how they breathe that dogs communicate. They communicate through an expansive language of dog body signals, from their tail to their ear to their body carriage to their eyes. And it's a language that's as robust as our language, of us speaking right now, and as many finer nuances. So the nose tends to not have anything to do with it. But just so Jen knows, the boxers, because they have those smush noses, they don't breathe as well as some other dogs, and they can't properly cool themselves.
Oh, okay.
So especially in the summer at a dog park or anything like that, then she should really make sure that they don't overheat, and make sure to give him some breaks.
Interesting.
Now back to, well, what could possibly be going on. I call boxers party dogs. They love to party.
Boxers.
Boxers. They're great dogs. They're phenomenal. They have lots of energy. They have really outgoing personalities normally, but they can be overwhelming to the more wallflower type dogs in the dog park. So it sounds like her dog may be wanting to play and not really taking the cues of
from the other dogs.
The other dog that they don't want to, and that could be starting some of those minor disagreements that she's seeing.
Oh, okay.
So a couple tips to kind of help her with that is, one, and it seems counterintuitive, but try to exercise him before
the dog park. Oh, interesting.
Which is hard because we take them to the dog park
for exercise,
and so we can stand around and hang out and play with dogs. But if he's got that much energy, Jen, then he probably needs a walk before, a little play session, something to burn some of that
off. Okay.
The other thing is, I'd like to normally have him sit at least 4 times between the car and the dog park.
You are tough.
Yeah, 4 times to get in. That's the rule. And what that does is it helps kind of center him. And also reminds him that you are not the chauffeur, that you are mom, and that you mean what you say. So if he starts to kind of get into a minor disagreement with another dog, he'll listen to you and you can keep him safe. Final tip is, I do a lot of times for those types of dogs, daycare is a great option. Because, especially at Dogtopia, we split up our rooms by size, by temperament, by age, all of that. And we have staff that has been trained extensively on dog body language and how to keep dogs safe. And so a lot of times it's in those environments that we can help teach them a little bit more of those canine communication skills, help them learn when he needs to move away from a dog and maybe go play with another playmate.
A little more etiquette.
A little more etiquette and kind of
social cues.
Exactly. Social skills.
Perfect. Thank you, Jen. We hope that helps you with your boxer. All right, we have a few more minutes to go through a few more questions. So Amy, we'll get to yours. We have a 4-month-old Labradoodle. He goes outside to pee, but then sometimes he pees and walks around the house as he does it. How do we stop that? He will ring the bells after to go out, so he knows afterward he did wrong.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, a little kind of similar to the other question with the bells, but what do you think?
I'm thinking it might be worth a vet check. Because dogs don't normally just kind of walk and pee around the house and then tell you they have to go out. So some puppies, even at 4 months of age, can have a slight UTI, a bladder infection. So I definitely think it'd be worth a call to the vet and just get checked out. Yeah, and I also, anytime you kind of see just any general behavioral change that tends to happen out of nowhere, my first call is check with the vet. Because there oftentimes can be a medical driver to that behavior because they can't tell us. Right, so if we have the dog go to the vet, make sure nothing's wrong, then we can really address it from a behavior standpoint and know that we're not being unfair. Now, if the doodle goes to the vet and everything is great, another couple options is, I would say, for now, because he's only 4 months old, take him out more frequently. Take him out on regular breaks, on a regular schedule, kind of some of the tips we talked about with the Westie puppy, just to really help him understand what he's supposed to do. Dogs, and also I find it a lot in Labradoodles, can overdrink water too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so there'll be a bowl of water there, and maybe they only need a half a cup to satisfy their thirst, and they drink all of it. All of it, because it's so much fun.
They're also a party dog, maybe.
They might be. You're right, they could be. They're probably hanging out with the boxer. And so if you find that, then he's going to have to pee a lot. And his bladder's going to be so overfull because he's drinking so much water. So at that point, what I do is, if they think that's happening, reduce the amount of water in the bowl.
Oh, okay.
So don't ever restrict the water, but instead of a full water bowl, maybe
a quarter.
Yeah. If he drinks it, another quarter or half. but then we make sure he's not over drinking, which could cause that issue as well.
Very smart. All right. I think we have time for one more question before we wrap everything up. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Like I said before, if we aren't able to get to your question during this session, we have future sessions with Colleen. Hers will be on February 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern. We also have our environmental biologist next week at 3 p.m. Eastern, and then our veterinarian will be back on February 13th. So depending on your question, we'll field it to the right expert and we'll get them answered for you, and also post the answers to dogtopia.com/healthydog. So I'll wrap it up with Stacy's question.
Okay.
How do I train with immediate, no matter the distraction results? I can get those results if there's not another dog around or if I have a treat, but I need his full undivided attention at times.
I love this question because I get this question a lot from pet parents. How do we make our dog listen no matter what? And the key is, one, remember he isn't being naughty. You know, a lot of times we get frustrated because we're saying, sit. And he's like, well, what? Like, I'm looking at that squirrel. What do you mean, sit? And that's not him, again, trying to be dominant, trying to be naughty, trying to disobey, trying to do any of that. He's just distracted. And I kind of equate it to, it's like a child being able to do their homework in the kitchen, but you put that child at Disneyland, they're probably not going to be able to do their homework.
Yeah.
And that's very much, it'd be really tough. And that's what happens with dogs, is we do a lot of our training in the living room, in the kitchen, in the backyard. And then we go to a park where there's tons of other dogs and distractions and they don't listen. But that's why they haven't been taught.
Okay.
So it's moving slow, right? So maybe if he's only been trained in the living room, maybe train him in the front yard.
Okay.
Maybe go to a park and have him do some simple commands there, but have the dog be, the other dog that's distracting him, be 100 yards away.
Okay.
Instead of a foot. Also, random reinforcement with the treats, because she mentioned that he only listens with treats. And random reinforcement, basically, when it comes down to it, means you never quite know when he's going to win. So you create it's like Vegas, right? Vegas works the way Vegas works because you never know when you're going to win. You may win something, you may lose something, you may win big.
Okay.
Dogs operate on the same type of concept, so make him a gambler. Sometimes when he sits, he gets a treat. Sometimes when he sits, he doesn't. Sometimes when he sits, he gets 10.
Okay.
And the amount of the treats overall doesn't have to be more, it's just the pieces.
Okay.
Which is interesting. So you can just take one treat and I break it up in little pieces and just treat. And what he'll think is,
I won the jackpot.
I won the jackpot. Next time mom says sit,
I'm sitting.
I'm sitting. I don't care what's going on around me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And then finally, if he fails repetitively, I normally say more than 3 times, make it easier.
Okay.
Our human tendency is if they fail, we keep doing it again and again and again and again because we are going to make him do it. But what happens is owner gets frustrated, dog gets frustrated, everyone's frustrated, no one's listening. Right? So if he fails more than 3 times, make it easier for him. Maybe make the distraction a little bit further away. Help him if you can. Redirect him somehow. Sometimes even just getting up and having him walk in a little circle and then trying the command again will really help.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, Stacy. And Stacy's on. So hi, Stacy. Glad we got to answer that for you. Thank you, Colleen.
Of course.
I think every pet parent who tuned in got a lot of great information. Like we said before, if we weren't able to get to your question, visit dogtopia.com/healthydog. We'll be posting the questions and the answers to our FAQ section and the blog. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We'll see you next week with Lorraine Rhodes, our environmental biologist. See you then.
Thank you.